I'm 22, have normal hearing, and can't live without hearing aids.
But aren't hearing aids just for old people with the hearing loss?
Find out the answer to that question and much, much more in this episode of Hearing Tech News with Mark Trong. So let's answer the question, why does a 22-year-old millennial love hearing aids? First of all, I did lie when I said I don't have a hearing loss, but day to day, it doesn't really affect me. And that isn't even the reason why I use hearing aids. For the past few years, I've been looking for a headset which allows me to stream music all day long whilst still being able to hear what's going on around me. Apple Airpods Pros came pretty close, especially with the transparency mode. However, you always still feel like there's something in your ear, and you kind of want to take it out after a few hours, and it only lasts maybe 4 to 6 hours. Hearing aids, on the other hand, fit seamlessly over your ear, putting most of the pressure on the actual ear itself, whilst remaining really discreet on the front. And after about 5 to 10 minutes, you don't even realize that they're on. To be honest, it did take me about a week to get used to the thin sound when listening to music, which comes about because these are tuned more for voice. But I did find that it was really good for podcast listening, especially in quiet environments. If you are, however, looking at getting the best in audio fidelity, you'd still be better going with something like an AirPod or just headphones. So Starkey was nice enough to send me out their latest Livio Edge AI hearing aids for me to test out. And apart from their extremely long name, one of the features that really stood out to me is their direct audio streaming. Being a Samsung fanboy, this was one of the differentiating factors that they had over the competition. Only about 2 to 3 out of the 6 to 7 hearing aid companies at the moment do direct Android streaming, and also the iPhone streaming is absolutely fantastic. If you want to find out if your phone is compatible with these hearing aids, pause the video now. Having tested these hearing aids over the past 2 weeks, I found that the iPhone connectivity is absolutely fantastic, even with my old iPhone 6s. However, I did find that when I was using my S9, the connection was patchy to say the least. It would bounce from left ear to right ear, and the connectivity isn't that good. We will have to wait for Android to release Bluetooth LE audio across the board to see better Android connectivity. So if you are an Android user, I'd say your mileage may vary depending on the phone you have and depending on the connection. As these are the first hearing aids I've got to demo, I can't really tell you how the other companies are faring with iPhone and Android. However, briefly trying my grandma's Signia Stiletto Connects, I have found that the iPad and iPhone connectivity is absolutely fantastic, similar to Starkey's connectivity with iPhone, but on Android they do require an additional box, and that connectivity is pretty much the same and patchy even with an additional device. Alright, so just to go through some of the specs, the rechargeable options last for, they say, up to 24 hours. I've had these on all day, every day, streaming music for 3 to 4 to 5 hours without any issues. And the hearing aids with the traditional button cell battery are set to last 4 to 7 days, depending on your power requirements and the amount of streaming you do each and every day. So if you're looking to get the rechargeable version, I just recommend putting it on your nightstand with the charger each and every night, and you should be good to go. So at this point, you may be asking yourself, Mark, how do they actually sound in real life? And to be honest, I can't really tell you. I don't have a significant enough hearing loss to really test it out fully. From my rudimentary testing, it does work pretty well in background noise, and other clinicians have told me that Starkey have one of the nicest sound profiles, but to be honest, I can't really tell you. Alright, so let's talk about app functionality. So if you go into your app store and type in Thrive Hearing Control, you'll be able to download the Thrive Hearing Control app, the Starkey app for hearing aids. both on iPhone and Android, and just click open. And you'll be greeted by the home screen. The home screen gives you a few controls. So you'll see two sliders, one for the right ear to decrease or increase volume, and one for left ear. And here's a small trick I found out the other day. If you actually drag from the middle of the screen between the two sliders, you're able to control both of them simultaneously. So that's really helpful if you're trying to raise or reduce the volume at the same time. You can do that through the app. So additionally, you have memories at the bottom. So you have normal, music, stream boost, and any other controls which your hearing provider has given you. And at the top, this is what separates Starkey from the rest. It's their Thrive score. So the Thrive score is made up of two things, the body aspect and the brain aspect. So the body aspect is made up of steps, exercise, and standing. So the more you step, exercise, stand each day, you can increase the score. And this is trying to help integrate healthable features so that you're keeping both healthy as well as hearing better. And the brain score, it's made up of use, engagement, and environment. So use is talking about how many hours you have had your hearing aids on each day. Engagement is about how much you've been talking. And environment is just all the other sounds which is going into your hearing aids. The Thrive app also has some really cool options like phone alerts, hearing care anywhere, which is telehealth, as well as a self-check. If your hearing aids aren't working, you can do that. As translation and transcription feature, which uses the hearing aid microphones to translate or transcribe the people who you're talking with in real life, as well as a Find My Hearing Aids. So for any of you who've ever used an Android or iPhone, you'll know that you can, if you've lost your iPhone, you can use another iPhone to go and find it, and this is similar to that. So those are some really cool features baked into the app. Let me know if there were any features or information which I missed out in the comments below. I'll be replying to each and every one of your comments. I really hope you enjoyed this hearing aid review. If you did, please leave a like, please subscribe for more hearing aid reviews, and please share it with your friends, especially if they're looking for a new hearing aid and are looking for more information. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Hearing Tech News with Mark Trong. I'll see you in the next one.